Smashmuck Champions is an exercise in missed potential. Let me walk you through my experience. I started out the game, and I was advised that I should probably try the tutorial. Simple enough, I thought that was probably a good idea since I had no idea what type of game I was even playing. There weren't any advertisements to tell me, that's for damn sure. The tutorial was charmingly voice acted, reasonably well written, and did a good job of showing me how to play the game. It didn't linger on too long, and it did a good job of establishing the game's unique personality. At this point, I was actually pretty excited and pleasantly surprised by what I had found. Unfortunately, it goes downhill from here. Next, I decided I would try and play a real game. The matchmaking system is set up quite well. Every game type has a check mark beside it. The fastest way to play a game is to hit select all and hit find match. Since I wanted to experiment with all the game types, that's what I did. Then this happened.
Amazing.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest downfall of this game is the player base. I'm told that the player base is much better on the weekends, but if I have a game that I like, I want to be able to play it whenever I choose. When I finally did get into a match, I found a reasonably enjoyable experience. It's set up a bit like a MOBA, except with a lot more game types. The game doesn't have any levels, and health is relatively low by comparison to damage. That leads to very short games. If the characters move faster and respawns were shorter, this would lead to an incredibly action-packed game feel. Unfortunately, the mechanics don't quite synergize. Of course, anytime you remove complexity from a game of this genre, you're going to lose interest from your primary demographic. My first game was essentially a 3v3 capture the flag with a flag at each base. Despite having the highest score in the game in every category, my team lost horribly. This experience taught me a great deal about the game. First, the game setup allows for the player that has very low level to still do very well if they have a bit of skill. Second, you can't win games unless you work with your teammates for the actual map objectives. Unfortunately, this also means that your teammates can bring you down. I played a few more games and found a surprisingly amount of variety in gameplay. There's a co-op defensive mode that's incredibly difficult. I've had plenty of progression outside the games themselves. There are trainer levels over time, and a training routine system replaces the runes from League of Legends. Every champion even has weapons you can choose to equip, and they get experience points and level as you play. It adds to a feeling that your champion is different from the rest once it reaches the battlefield. Unfortunately, most of those things are insanely expensive. After my first match, I had a look at my coins. I had 280. After about 10 matches, I had a look at my coins. I still had 280. This is the point at which I gave up. I apparently ran into a bug no one else was experiencing, in which my match history was completely incorrect. I wasn't getting credit for any of my games. It's still in beta, and I don't expect anyone else to experience the same sort of things I did, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention my experiences. The fact that I made it so far without even glancing at my coins goes to show that the combat itself is entirely reasonable, and the setting manages to remain charming throughout. Since the open beta is free, I recommend that you at least give it a quick look to see if it tickles your proverbial fancy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Minos homeless and filled with rage. Minos homeless and filled with rage. Sounds like fun.